Welcome back on a clear day now in Pukekohe as we rejoin race 2 of this 3-race series. Race 1 yesterday, won by Mark Scaife, Greg Murphy second and Marcus Ambrose third. And race 2 now is being led by Scaife. Another battle from Stephen Richards on the inside on Rick Kelly. Will he get him here? That's the second man that Richards has passed on that point. And Jason Bright also lines up Kelly as well. 2 versus 0-2, but Rick Kelly holds him out.
That's quite an impressive lap by Scaife at 57.9. Paul Radis is considering the quickest lap he did yesterday was a 57.4 on obviously fresher tyres, so the car's still carrying plenty of speed.
Yeah, it is, and you know, it's as I said before, he's been able to carry that through qualifying and the race, but you know, it's nothing unusual about that, is it, Mark? But it really does show around Pukekohe, because the other thing which will be interesting is they've all stopped quite early for tyres, and you know, it's a long way, and this Pukekohe track really eats up rear tyres, and we saw the guys trying to, you know, we did what, 2 or 3 laps trying to warm each set of tyres, particularly in the front and the opening laps, the front tyres, but the rears just take a real hammering out of both hairpins.
That's definitely what the drivers are talking about at the moment. A lot of them are saying that the rears are already starting to burn up. Those who are starting to make a late pit stop are going to reduce their pressures to counteract that, but also some conjecture as to which gear to use coming onto the back straight. Normally, some of them use third, some of them use second, but second is very hard and burns up those rear tyres coming onto the back straight, so a lot of them are now opting for a taller gear to try not to burn them up so quickly and get through this race.
Brad Jones continues to lead. Stephen Ellery in second, Faulkner in third. Then it's Seaton, Larkham, Tratt. They're the last of the cars yet to make their compulsory stops. Mark Scaife is the first car in the queue to have made his tyre change. Murphy second, Stephen Richards third. That'll be the order once those compulsory stops are out of the way. Looking back a little bit further in the pack, Rick Kelly chasing Stephen Richards, who's in 9th. Kelly's in 10th. Jason Bright, result of that drama in his pit stop, he's back in 11th. Look at this attack by Ambrose under brakes. Up the inside of Rick Kelly. Oh, he's gone deep a couple of times there.
Yeah. A little bit of contact on the exit of that hairpin. So much drag racing going on down that back straight. Maximum speed, 270. This is one of the highest average speed circuits that we've got. Probably what, 160, 170 k's?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you can see by the lap times it's so small but yet so fast. And you're talking about back straight speed at sort of 250, 260 k, going into around about 150 meters down the back. And believe me, you know, your heart's in your mouth every time. And as the race goes on here, we're going to get less and less grip, particularly on the front, and it's going to catch a few guys out as well.
Yeah, rear tyre life has been such a drama for just about every car in the field. People really worrying about particularly the left rear, considering they're mostly right-hand corners. The left rear cops a real caning around here. You can see Bright there getting sideways under power.
It's, you know, you just got to keep grabbing taller gears all the time, but that's easier said than done, because you keep grabbing 4th, we're 3rd, and of course, you know, you just slow out of the corner and get eaten up. But it's just the surface of the track. It's nothing to do with the tyres. It's just a very greasy, high, lack of grip surface, which just tends to eat into the tyres quite quickly.
Brad Jones comes in for his pit stop.
He is the race leader at the moment. Won't be for long, though. Choosing to stay out there till lap 16 before he came in for his second set of tyres.
Made his second top 10 shootout of the year. Came up through the second qualifying session and finished 9th in race 1 yesterday, Grant.
Yeah, well, Brad Jones, I suppose that everybody does the same thing. You've got to try a different sort of strategy, and that's exactly what Brad has done. They're quite confident that this might be able to do it, but it's got to be a quick outlap from Brad Jones if he's to maintain some sort of good position.
The quickest lap he's done is a 59.3 in this race. That was on lap 4. So he really had to try and get some speed out of the car while he stayed out there. But a few of the cars he's chasing now have gone past.
And this is probably the track that they've struggled the most at. I mean, all year they've been getting stronger and stronger at each event, but I think just once again the bumps have thrown them a little bit off, and you know, Brad was 9th and John was a bit further back, so you know, probably a good strategy for today to get a little bit closer to the front.
He rejoins about 14th spot, just behind Max Wilson, I think.
Jim Vale and some of the crew down at Castrol Perkins Racing are scratching their head at the moment. They had the gear out for Russell Ingall just a moment ago, and they put it away again. He's already been in for a drive-through penalty. We know that. Prior to serving the drive-through, he was complaining about the car stepping out. A bit of oversteer on car 8, and they've come in since then, changed the tyres on that car, completed his compulsory pit stop, and Russell's saying it's no better right now. Wow,
look at this battle for the Holden Racing team and Holden Young Lions teams. All work under the same umbrella, but it's getting hot and heavy here. Rick Kelly, the 19-year-old young charger, who's done such an impressive job this year for the Holden Young Lions team, and Jason Bright, HRT car number 2, in behind him. And you can see how hard Rick was working as they headed into the Ford Mountain section on the previous lap.
He's been under the gun, hasn't he? Stephen Richards put him under pressure, and then Jason Bright joined the queue, and Marcus Ambrose is also waiting to have a crack, but he's got a very, very mature attitude to racing for a 19-year-old, now 20th in the championship, moved up 2 places after a 7th placing in race 1. And Jason Bright continues to bear down on his TWR stablemate. Will he get him at the hairpin? No.
Oh, will he? Yeah, he's on the inside. Just saw the opportunity where Rick Kelly had just enough traction out of that corner to hold that position. So it's no holds barred here. They might be operating under the same umbrella, but it's a real race out there between Rick Kelly and Jason Bright.
It was interesting, Russie talking about Russell Ingall. I was there this morning after the warm-up, and they were talking about Russell changing different springs. He and Stevie Richards are running completely different setups, so Russell may have opted for the wrong sprint, and that could be a bit of a problem as Larko comes in for his pit stop as well.
Stephen Ellery, our race leader, one of the few remaining cars out there yet to make his compulsory stop, continues to lead this one. Seaton in 2nd, Faulkner in 3rd, Anthony Tratt in 4th, and then Mark Scaife moving his way up through the field, the first of the cars to have made its compulsory stop. This battle, though, continues between Rick Kelly and Jason Bright for 9th place.
Second time around, and Bright gets him this time.
So Bright moves up to 8th, Kelly back to 9th. Marcus Ambrose.
Look at Rick Kelly. He refuses to give in, pulls up alongside number 2 as he goes towards the switchback, brings you onto the mountains. That is along Main Straight. So Bright gets him. Marcus Ambrose is next to pounce. Wow, hasn't Rick Kelly been under some pressure throughout the last 5 or 6 laps of this race?
Oops.
And Cameron McLean.
Lost a wheel.
Yeah, and there goes Dean Canto in car number 600. Off at the hairpin, that's car number 40's wheel, so Cameron McLean is currently trundling around with 3. And that's through the Mobile S's, so he's lost it and still managed to stay off the wall, we think. Dean Canto, if he missed us yesterday, has now got the drive in car number 600, the 4th driver to take that cat car drive.
Coming in the pit lane.
Look at Cameron McLean all over the shop as he tries to line up pit lane.
There's going to be some damage to that rear hub, doing 2.5 Ks around Pukekohe Raceway. Look at that, just grinding along the disc grader.
Well, Jeff, Greg, that was a bit of a nervous moment for you with Bridie and Rick Kelly going head-to-head there.
Yeah, it was. You know, it's just Rick trying to pick the right moment. He's struggling a little bit, but you know, early pace was good. So I mean, it's fair. They're racing each other, and as long as they don't touch, they're fairly good.
For someone in your shoes, what do you do in a situation like that? Do you just let them race their race?
Rusty, they know the rules. You know, they're allowed to race each other as long as there's no contact. Ooh. And we always speak about it. Like you got to let them have a race. You can't be like Ferrari and make them pull over. But to a certain extent. And because of the sorry, you go, mate. Because of the because his tyres were working a bit harder. I mean, he discussed on the phone. He said he let him go and not hold him up any longer.
Look, Look after those fingernails.
Okay, thanks.
Well, Larry Perkins' safety car is on the circuit, and here's the reason. Perkins well and truly beached down the end of the back straight. Let's have a look on the Nintendo replay.
The hairpin claims another victim. So that was Dean Canto going off earlier. Stuck there in the dirt just seconds after Cameron McLean lost his wheel at the other end of the track. And this is what happened to Larry Perkins. Whew, beached that one big time.
Just had everything locked up. Coming to that corner way offline. So 2 cars stranded, and you can see well and truly Dean Canto's not going to drive out of there under his own steam, neither Larry Perkins. So safety car is on the circuit, and this is the wheel incident.
Well, I think he clipped that tyre barrier. He did, and then 10 or 15 metres later, the rear left goes its own way.
So he had the limp round virtually the full circuit distance on 3 wheels and a brake disc. There's Larry Perkins out of the car, waiting to be recovered. It has not been a good weekend for Larry so far. Early retirement from race 1, and now he's gone out pretty early in race 2.
Mark Scaife is our race leader. He has done his pit stop. Anthony Tratt hasn't, but the rest of the guys have. Greg Murphy is third on the road at the moment, but effectively second place. Then Richards, Bright, Rick Kelly, Marcus Ambrose, Todd Kelly, Max Wilson. Look at those Fords lining up. Jones, Bauer, Crompton, Johnson, Forbes and Lowndes. And 021, Jason Richards in 16th position. The V8 Supercar International. This is your home of motorsport, direct from the City of Sails. Now, it's reported that Auckland has the highest number of boats per capita in the world. Of course, it also has the America's Cup, and 8 yachting syndicates from 6 countries are currently battling it out on Auckland's Hauraki Golf to win the right to challenge Team New Zealand for the Cup early next year. It is the focal point of Auckland. If you're coming here, make sure you jump on the water and relax. That is how the Kiwis like it. Well, nobody likes to see this, though. Gunk and dirt, stones and everything caught underneath car 600. Dean Canto has managed to get back on track, so good work from his team to get that car back out and circulating again. And just further to that Cameron McLean story, a loose wheel nut seems to be the problem, so he didn't collect that tyre barrier going through that turn, and the rear wheel just went off. Larry Perkins is now being pulled out of the dirt. Greg Murphy continues to fight away in second position. Can you hear us, Murph?
Hey, Whitey, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Can you get him from there?
Nope. Simple answer. It's the HRT team have just got too much speed in that #1 car today, and unfortunately we can't challenge him. So unless he has a problem, I think that's the way it's going to be. He's just too quick.
Well, we're hearing from our guys here that Scaife may be about to pull out of the race. Some sort of engine problem. You may be well placed.
Oh, really? you sure not hearing something, boys?
We're hearing some sort of problem with the engine, and we will confirm that for you, but they're hearing some panic messages from the Holden Racing Team garage.
You'll know soon enough, Murph. Either we'll let you know if we can, or you'll certainly find out, because he's only 2 cars in front of you at the moment with Anthony Tratt there. Hey, just give us a word on what it's like to come back to this place, especially after last year. I mean, the crowd here are just phenomenal.
Yeah, they are. It is really special, mate. I mean, last year was just obviously the dream come true, and this year, you know, I don't want to let them down. There's a bit of expectation there. They just think we can do it again, and I would have loved to do it again, but it has been pretty tough this weekend. Scaife has been on fire.
What's going on, Murph, with the rear tyres? A lot of people complaining about tyre wear.
Yeah, the safety car lights have gone out, boys, so I'm going to have to leave you here.
Okay, right, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.
Greg Murphy there, car number 51, as some drama unfolds in front of him. We'll check out what John Faulkner's team is up to. He's trapped there in pit lane at the moment, car number 46. So on lap 25 of 54, while we were talking to Murph there, as Mark Osler said, we got some chat through on the radios. Let's go down to Rusty.
Well, Matthew, just to update you, I've been monitoring this for the last couple of minutes, and unfortunately for Mark Scaife, it seems to have dropped a cylinder. They're monitoring the oil pressure. It seems fine. Mark doesn't think it's a valve spring or anything like that, but for some reason it's got some really major harmonic or metallic sound to it. So car 1 is in trouble at the moment. Right now, HRT are debating what to do, whether to keep it out there and to run it until such time as it gives up, or to bring it in. Now, this car has been a jet all weekend. From the moment we had our first qualifying or practice session, this car has just been on it. So this is bad news for Mark Scaife right now.
Well, we hear he might be coming into pit lane, Rusty, yep, here he comes. So Scaife is coming into pit lane.
Down he by.
Engine dramas for car 1. What an extraordinary situation as we get back to racing. Anthony Tratt, the first car in the queue, and one of the last cars yet to make his stop, and Greg Murphy will take over the lead of race 2.
Well, the door was open as soon as Scaife went into pit lane. Now Anthony Tratt gets out of the way and lets these guys get back to flat out racing. The local hero is back in front. Greg Murphy, car number 51. They don't care how it happened. They just want to see 51 out there, and Murph is leading the way. Right behind him is Stephen Richards, and look at Mark Scaife coming in. Our reporter's down there.
Guys, Mark Scaife has brought the car in. They brought it straight up onto the jacks. Now he's going to give the car a rev here, so here it goes. You can hear it. There it is missing, and the boys are going to try and diagnose just what the problem is. But obviously a pretty disappointed Mark Scaife. He had high hopes of coming here and scoring his first offshore V8 Supercar round win. He took a race win yesterday, we know that, but the hometown crowd has gone crazy here for Greg Murphy, who's leading the way. Unlucky for Mark Scaife right now.
The crowd has erupted on the main straight as their man Greg Murphy goes through in the lead. I think the team, Holden Racing team, are going to shut that car down.
That's the end of the day. You can see it. Necked it, and disappointment in HRT, but at Kmart Racing, the front straight erupted. You couldn't hear it because they were testing out that engine of car number 1, and Greg Murphy on an almighty roar as he came flat out down the front straight.
Well, as a fellow Kiwi, Paul Radisich, can you believe this magic about Pukekohe? It seems to favour the Kiwi drivers. That one's fallen in his lap.
Well, we'd say it's fantastic for Murph. I mean, to get that opportunity with Mark. Let's face it, he's had no trouble all year. Wrapped the championship up in...
Bradley Jones stuck at the hairpin. The others are going to have to get around him, and they don't. Stephen Ellery caught up. I think Jason Richards just got out of the way. Larkham goes through, Canto goes through, and Jones is at the back of the pack.
He can count himself a very lucky man getting turned around right in the middle of that pack. There was an awful lot of cars that had to shuffle through that funnel. He managed to get away unscathed. So Jones gets back into the action. Here's our race leader, the king of Pukekohe from 2001. Greg Murphy takes over the lead. Stephen Richards in second. Jason Bright in third. So it could still well be a Holden Racing team on the podium finish in race 2. Jason Bright still out there in a competitive position, but Murphy now will have the bit between his teeth and his head down. Look at the gap he's opened now already as he feels the roar of the crowd, and the Kmart Commodore flying.
And this also puts the championship perspective into another interesting phase, because it's Murphy putting some pressure on Jason Bright for the second position in the championship. This is this incident back at the hairpin. Now they all try and get evasive action going here, but watch Jason Richards and Stephen Ellery come to grief. Ellery chipped out big time, and Richards just went through. This is on board with Stephen Ellery's car, so that's Jason Richards in front of him. They all try and get out of the way. Hang on a second, got to go right. Whoa.
It all happens in a matter of moments. Nintendo replay taking you right into the battle there from the Super Cheap Autos car. Stephen Johnson doing well. You'll be happy about that, Paul Radisich. He's up to 8th.
He started, well, we know he was involved in the incident yesterday, so he started last, and to get right up to 8th so far, and you know, he's making some inroads on Neil Crompton as well, so he may get another spot or two.
There's Mark Scaife out of the car. Enormous disappointment for the 5 times champion as the field sort themselves out through the section there. But our race leader is Greg Murphy. Let's go to Rusty.
Hard luck, Mark. Just talk us through what happened.
Well, it's got a really bad engine vibration, and it's gone on to 7 cylinders, but it's a totally different thing to what we had in IndyCar. You know, IndyCar was a electrical style thing. This is quite a quite a sort of serious engine vibration, and I really, the boys don't really know yet. We're going to have a look, but I mean, really disappointing. The car was just fantastic. You know, we were cruising. So,
at what point did it give you an indication that you were in trouble?
Just as the safety car came out, when I was right behind Russell Ingall, I said to the boys, so I'll round him up next lap, and then as that come out, it went on to 7. So yeah, don't know.
Hard luck.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they can do an engine change and get Scaife out for race 3, but of course he'll start from the back of the grid for that one. So if he does get back on the track, it's going to be a heck of a charge from the new champ. Meanwhile, here's the battle, and it's Commodores. 1, 2, 3, 4. Marcus Ambrose, the first of the Fords, in 5th. Talking to Marcus earlier on this morning, Paul Radicic was just saying he's powerless to do anything about these Commodores. By the time they get the setup on the car right, it's starting to eat into the rear tyres, and he really has to stay stationary. He can't move.
Now, at the moment, you know, Holden hold the upper advantage, and as they come out of the transporters, and you know, first practice, they're right on it, and the Ford just takes us a little longer to find the balance in the car. And so, you know, the Stone brothers have done a tremendous job this year. They've been the closest to the Commodores all year, and but it is you know, if you don't come out of the transporter firing on all 8, it's a tough weekend from the start.
Look at this attack by Jason Bright right alongside Stephen Richards in the Castrol Commodore. Getting pretty tough there as he just brushes the back bumper of the Castrol car. Richards well positioned on the inside. Bright has to give way, and he'll breathe right down his neck through here, the fast section of the circuit, 200 Ks, as they shoot out here under the bridge.
Well, this is great for Murph because it's allowing him to get away. So the more they keep fighting, the further in front he gets.
Darryl?
Larry, an oil pump belt yesterday and then a run-off today.
I definitely should have stayed in bed, you know, today, or yesterday and today. Oil pump belt failing yesterday, but today actually was all my own silly fault. I was busy arguing with the crew on the radio, and I ran out a bit past my brake marker where the other guy had run off, and so it was my own stupid. It put me in the sand, but the car's all right, but it's full of sand and crap, and I'm a couple of laps behind, so we get it all right and see if we can have a half an intelligent race in the last one.
Stephen's having a good run.
Yeah, I see that. Stephen's showing me how it should be done, and that, which is good, because that's what I'm paying him for. But no, he's going well, and still a few laps to go, but you never know.
Thanks, mate.
Hasn't he had an adventurous weekend? Larry Perkins here in Pukekohe went off twice in the qualifying session. Oh, Jason Bright
had a big sideways fling onto the straight there, had a fistful of opposite lock, a rear wheel went out into the grass, chucked up a big chunk of mud. He managed to pull it back online, but Bright's car is getting very skatey, Paul Radicic.
He's just using up the rear tyres. He needs to sort of cool them off for a lap or two, just follow Stephen, and then he might be able to have a lunge at it. But if he keeps driving the way he's going, he's just going to chew out those rear bags.
22 laps to go, pal. 22 laps to go. Think about where you're going to pass him, pal. Think about it.
The straight will be easy.
Jason Bright thinks about where he's going to pass him. He dips it in the dirt again. Down this back straight they go. Stephen Richards has passed 3 or 4 guys on that corner.
Locks up a brake on the approach as well. You can hear Matthew Crawford, his team chief on the radio, just try and pick your mark. And he's going to try it here as he's side by side as they come up toward Ford Mountain. 200 kilometres an hour, door to door. Bright's on the inside. He has to pull back again. So Stephen Richards proving a pretty tough customer in heavy company. Rick Kelly, though, and Marcus Ambrose are well and truly in this battle as well. It looks like these two have been slowing up a little bit, Paul. That's allowed the other two to close.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be interesting. I mean, trying to go around the outside side there was never going to work. There's just too much dust and dirt, but brave move by Jason.
This is the battle for second place, and it's a 4-way fight. Stephen Richards, Jason Bright, Rick Kelly and Marcus Ambrose. Greg Murphy, 2.7 seconds up the road from the Castrol Commodore. This is where the action is. Bright builds up a head of steam, closes in on the back of the Castrol car. But flat out in 6th gear on the approach to Holden hairpin. Hard under brakes once again. We've seen Bright darting left, darting right, dropping wheels over the white line, giving it everything, but Stephen Richards has not given him an opportunity.
You sort of get the feeling it's going to end in tears.
You certainly do, and there'll be some guys behind them just ready to collect. Greg Murphy is our race leader. Stephen Richards certainly has both hands full as he gets maximum attack from Jason Bright. Rick Kelly there in 4th. Ambrose is the best of the Ford Falcons at the moment in 5th. Neil Crompton has shot up 8 positions, and Garth Tander has come up 20 positions to be in the top 10 at the moment. So race 2 of round 12 of the V8 Supercars. No sign of rain yet, but it's not as though we needed it, because this is exciting stuff in New Zealand. Greg Murphy leads him out. Jason Bright still can't get past car number 16, Stephen Richards. So it's Murphy, Richards, Bright, Kelly, back to this man, Marcus Ambrose. You're on board with him, riding in 5th at the moment. Remember that Mark Scaife is out of this one. The winner of race 1, engine problems, and he's parked it. He will take no further part in this second race.
Well, I'm just about to show you what happens when you don't get the approach to the hairpin just right. Have a look what happened to John Bauer's tyre under the braking into that hairpin. That's one of the best flat spots I think I've ever seen. Ripped it right down to the canvas. Look at that. You can even tear back some of the tyre. That's a good job, but sadly the day for the Aussie Mail team just gets worse and worse.
Just interesting, this battle between Jason Bright and Stephen Richards. Cast your mind back to Canberra this year when those two guys, former Bathurst winners together, were going at it head-to-head. We're seeing the same sort of thing here today. But, yeah, really interesting situation between these two.
Well, Jason Bright now is falling into the clutches of Rick Kelly. Just as Rusty was talking there, you can see Rick and the Holden Young Lions car launching a major attack as they came down through that sweeping long Marek Finance kick on the back straight.
That's the difference between 1st and 2nd there on your screen, was 3.31 seconds between car number 51 and car 16.
The beauty of this, as Paul Radisich just pointed out, it's allowing Greg Murphy to run in clean air on his own. He did a 58.7 the previous lap, a 59.0. These guys just a few tenths off that pace. Look at this gaggle of cars further back in the pack. Boy, oh boy, it's busy here. Brad Jones, the Aussie Mail Falcon.
Yeah, that's about midfield at the group you're looking at there. Some panel damage to the front of Jason Bargwanna's car. That's Rodney Forbes. Now he's in 15th. Stephen Ellery 16th. Then Bargwanna, Cameron McConville, Paul Wheel, and Brad Jones, courtesy of that spin back there, has gone back towards the rear of the field.
That's hard work from there. Look at this. He's got him.
Bright.
He got him. Just take your eyes off them for a second. Jason Bright looks like he just dropped back from the Castrol Commodore for a lap or two to let his tyres resuscitate Paul Radisich, and then he had another go.
Yeah, and that's what it looked like. He did just ease off. His lap times indicate that, and then just picked his time just right. And well done, Jason. He's got to sometimes think a little bit further down the road.
17 laps to go, pal. 17 laps to go. Have a drink, pal. Have a drink.
Have a drink, pal. You've worked for that. Matthew Crawford talking to Jason Bright, car 2. So the order now: Murphy, Bright, 3.5 seconds down the road from the Kmart Commodore. Stephen Richards, Rick Kelly, Marcus Ambrose, Todd Kelly is a few seconds back from this battle. So you look on the PlayStation 2 race score where they are. Look at this attack now. Rick Kelly could see that Jason Richards was vulnerable. He gets down the inside as they come down the back straight. Richards responds under brakes, but Kelly beautifully positioned on the inside, and he'll pick up another slot, and Ambrose goes with him. So all of a sudden, Richards looks to his right, and there's the Pertec Ford, but it hasn't got quite as much traction out of that corner, and he has to fall back a spot.
It always happens that way, doesn't it, when there's 4 cars fighting for the one spot. The first guy to make a move all of a sudden triggers off behind him. These big moves, and that's exactly what's happening to Stephen Richards at the moment. He's really getting attacked. First by Rick Kelly, now Marcus Ambrose. Jason Bright triggered all that. He got past Richards after 5 or 6 laps, a really heavy dicing. Lap 39 of 54, Greg Murphy continues to lead. 3.6 second gap he's got now over second place Jason Bright. Kelly is 3rd.
Looks like the Gary Rogers Motorsport team may be monitoring a possible problem for Garth Tander right now. The fuel light has been coming on an intermittent basis. It sounds as though he may be running out of fuel, but they can't quite figure out why. So Darrell's down that neck of pit lane. Maybe we'll hear shortly what's going on.
Well, in terms of the championship, Rusty, this fight between Murphy and Bright now, which is 1 and 2 out there on the road, is making the fight for 2nd and 3rd overall on the championship quite interesting. There was a 51-point gap coming into this race between Bright and Murphy, and if positions stay the way they are, that will be reduced to around 35 by my calculations, with another 80 points maximum on offer after this one. So at the end of the day, it could get quite interesting. Remember, Holden Racing Team have never had a 1-2 championship finish.
Well, I think Rick Kelly's fallen into trouble. Just when we took our eyes off that battle, he was going gangbusters. But on our timing monitor, Todd Kelly is showing in front of his brother Rick, and he was a few seconds behind only a few moments ago. So Rick Kelly had a bit of a moment in car 02. We'll find out. Here's Garth Tander, currently in 7th. And look at this. Richards has been under attack from the Pertec Ford for the last couple of laps. It looks like Richo now is really struggling for tyre grip, Paul.
It does look that way. Just out of railway onto the back straight is main. The speed on the straight has dropped down, and he's obviously just struggling for traction, getting out of the corners and braking as well.
Rick Kelly's the next man with the Castrol Commodore in his gun sights, and you can see there quite clearly he's overtaken Rick Kelly. Was behind him on the road only a lap or two ago.
That last lap of Stephen Richards clocked in at a minute .699. The other guys are still circulating in 59.58s.
And a bit of a moment.
This one, watch Marcus Ambrose just muscle his way through the hairpin. Get out of my way.
Oof, just hit the mirror there. A couple of hits on the passenger door mirror, and he's through. So Stephen Richards now, a fight for survival out there. His tyres going away quite rapidly. The Castrol Commodore becoming more and more of a handful. His lap time sliding, and you can see the way cars are progressively stepping up and pouncing on him. Todd Kelly working hard to try and find a way around Rick Kelly.
Yeah, it's Garth Tanner's car. I was just talking to his guys, and they believe that he had a faulty pump. But I said, is that going to hamper the car at all? And they said, no, it will be fine.
Well, that's good to know. Rick Kelly has been one of the movers. Neil Crompton, too, is doing very well. Car 27. He's up to 7th place now. He's made his compulsory stop. And Crompton's been moving up through the field. He went from 27th. Jumped right up the order. Garth Tander, meanwhile, has dropped right down. And there's a comparison. The last 5 laps between race leader Greg Murphy and his closest pursuer, Jason Bright. Bright quicker than Murphy on 3 of those 5 occasions. And one state, .24. So there's a real battle going on there. Murphy will be enjoying this situation, being able to run out on his own, Paul, look after the tyres, consistent laps.
Yeah, there's really at this point there's no way Jason can catch him. I mean, everybody's used up their tyre grip, or the extra little bit of grip that they had, and sort of settled into what's left. And Murph, just as long as he doesn't make a mistake, which I'm sure he won't, will you know, he should be able to bring it home.
That tyre situation, I guess, gets tougher and tougher as the day goes on. You're given an allocation of 12 tyres per car, and you have to move those around as best you can. So by the time you get to race 3, you're starting to get down to, what do they say, the cleanest of your dirty shirts.
That's right. You start turning them inside out, you know, just to see if they'll do the next race. But you know, it only takes one problem. You lock a wheel, and that, you know, you start bringing them down as the weekend goes. So yeah, whoever's got the best tyres towards the end, particularly race 3, and particularly here at Pukekohe, should make an interesting race.
Good effort by the All Blacks. Team Kiwi there, car 021, Jason Richards. And he's just knocking on the door of the top 10. He's in 12th place now. Tony Longhurst in front of him. Russell Ingall behind, fighting back from that drive-through. And here's Garth Tander, who suddenly dropped all the way down the order. And they're putting it away in the garage, Dags.
Gary, what's the problem?
Well, we're not sure exactly. I mean, we filled the car with fuel, but for the last 5 laps, he's been complaining about it's been running out of fuel. There's obviously a problem with the pickup in the tank, I'd say, or with the pump. But look, I honestly don't know. I mean, it's disappointing. It's not our best weekend, and to come from where he started last to put himself in that position is not a bad drive, and you know, pretty frustrating. But nevertheless, just got to try and fix it and get out there again.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Yeah, rotten luck for Garth Tander. There is Jason Richards, car 021, ex-Larry Perkins Commodore. They have 2 cars in the Team Kiwi stable. They're doing well here on home soil. Here's this battle. It's been going on lap after lap. John Bow, car 888. Neil Crompton is just behind this battle a little bit further down the road. So he's done well in the 00 Motorsport Ford to fight his way up. He did start from 15th. and got his way all up to 7th. And considering he started from 27th yesterday, he's making great progress, Paul.
Yeah, he sure is. And, you know, all those guys there, in particular Stephen, too. Remember, Stephen started last, so to be up to 8th, tremendous drive. And
good work by the pit crew, obviously, to turn him around.
Yeah, Stephen was pretty much the first one to come in, and we did a good 8-second stop. So, yeah, you got to do it these days if you're going to, you know, stay in the hunt.
So Greg Murphy continues to be our race leader. This one has fallen his way just when he needed it too. He thought that Mark Scaife was going to out-clean sweep him this weekend, but now Murphy has a stranglehold on race 2. Jason Bright lining up 2nd position, and Marcus Ambrose is searching for a podium spot in the 2nd race. We'll take a break from Pukekohe. Hope you're enjoying the action on the V8 International on Network 10 and TV1 in New Zealand. Welcome back. It's a spectacular sight, isn't it? The 328-metre Sky Tower. It's the tallest building in the Southern Hemisphere, and if you're crazy enough, you can do that, jump off it, or you can actually climb to the top of Sky Tower. You'll emerge at an observation platform that is 300 metres above sea level. You can also climb the Harbour Bridge, and early next year they're going to attach a rope to it so you can jump off that as well. This is Adventure City, Auckland, New Zealand.
Welcome back to Pukekohe, and we're looking at 7th place Neil Crompton, who in the space of almost 2 races has climbed his way up from 27th to 7th. So making great progress in car 27, one of the 3 00 motorsport forwards. Darryl?
Garth, I guess it's not nice when you work from that far back and then didn't quite get to the end.
Yeah, it's got some sort of fuel pickup problem just on the exit of all the corners. It just dies, and with no point staying out there, it's going to get run into by someone, and it's better off to get it in and try and fix it for the next one. But yeah, a bit disappointing. We started 28th and we got into the 10, and was looking good for the next race. So it just looks like we'll have to start from the back again and try and charge our way through.
Hope they can find the problem.
Yeah, so do I. Thanks.
Yeah, great disappointment for Garth Tander. And here's car 00, Craig Lowndes. He's locked in a battle with Max Wilson to stay inside the top 10. Wilson in 9th, Lowndes in 10th. See him there.
Swinging around.
Oh, it's just a Sunday drive around the back straight of Pukekohe for Craig Lowndes, isn't it? Sort of nothing much you can do, really, along that long back straight.
Not what he can do in a straight line. We saw a drag race between the 00 Motorsport car and Brad Jones yesterday, and the Aussie Mail car had quite a clear straight line advantage in terms of horsepower over the 00 Motorsport Ford. On a horsepower track like this, that must be very frustrating, Paul Radicic.
It is, but it's, as I said, it's always been a horsepower track, so you know, he has the most, and you're right, we saw that yesterday. Brad was able just to power around the outside and disappear down the straight.
Well, that was Cameron McConville and Paul Wheel getting tangled up. There it is again at Holden Hairpin.
Bit of a helping hand from the K&J thermal machine. So Cameron McConville, after an underbonnet fire yesterday, in more trouble in race 2. Rusty?
Well, guys, you were talking there before about tyres and the problem facing a lot of drivers coming into the final race, getting your cleanest pair of dirty shirts out. Wanted to know from Paul Radicic, this track is a fairly coarse-grain style surface. The bitumen similar to Western Australia, but not as sharp on the edges. But there are some patches like this part of the track now, the hairpin, on the run down into the hairpin and off the exit where it has been resurfaced. Is it tough to set the car up for that, Paul?
Yeah, it is, Rusty. It's you know, the track is very slippery in that part, and as we get more rubber down, it becomes harder not only to stop the car, but to get on the throttle and get out of the turn. And you know, we're seeing the cars starting to overshoot as tyre wear becomes a problem. You know, overshooting is a real problem. And also, you start touching the grass. It's had a huge amount of rain over here in the last, well, particularly last night. You hit the grass, and of course, you start to pick up more speed.
A drive-through penalty has been issued for the K&J thermal car. That will be a result of that contact with Cameron McConville down at Holden Hairpin, I should say. Hard under brakes into the hairpin as we speak. Car 16, the Castrol Commodore, Stephen Richards, fighting a difficult battle here. His tyres are well past their use by date, and everyone's breathing. Look how hard Todd Kelly now is applying the pressure to the Castrol Commodore. And I've got to say, Richards has done a terrific job to hold him out this long.
Yeah.
5 to go.
He really has. I mean, he's just struggling with regrip, but as you know, as most of the drivers out there. But just to go back to that hairpin, I mean, on the TV here, it doesn't look that steep, but there's a great off-camber area there, which tends to make it hard coming off the corner to get power down.
Yeah, and I guess when people talk about tyre wear, everyone thinks about power down and wheel spin. There's also the braking issue. Like if you're lacking in grip, you can't go as deep under brakes as well.
No, that's right, and that, you know, this is showing up as the race goes on.
Oh, Todd Kelly goes around the outside of Stephen Richards down that back straight, and he's got him, bumps him out of the way.
Well, did he though? Look at
from the 16 car.
Massive brake lock up from Stephen Richards. Boy, oh boy, they're still arguing. Elbow to elbow, plenty of barge and push. Todd Kelly eventually comes through in front, but there was some real road rage going on there down the back straight. You can see that Todd Kelly pounced on the critical turn 3 onto the back straight, but Richards was in no mood to open the door. The Young Lions car gets through as well. John Bowers sizing up the Castrol Commodore as well.
I think, Steve, with that huge lockup, he's probably squared his tyre, and the vibration through the steering will just be too much.
It was a massive lockup, wasn't he? Had that thing on fire for probably 100 metres or more.
Take a look at it again.
Oh.
Well, that was the end of it. That was the final stages of that, but then they continued it through here. Look, boom. And Rick Kelly joined the fray as well. So what does that do to the order? Greg Murphy remains out there in first. Jason Bright continues to be second. Marcus Ambrose is third. Todd Kelly is fourth now. Rick Kelly is fifth, and Richards has dropped back to sixth. And John Bow is trying to push his way up. He's a long way back, though, in terms of the timesheet. Darryl Beattie.
Kim, you'll see you wandering down the pits and down to see Cito's guys.
Yeah, it's just protocol. Cito's a lap down on us, so Bradley's catching him. I don't know whether we'll catch him before the end of the race, but you just go down and say, hey guys, you're a lap down. If we catch you, make it easy. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. And unfortunately, this weekend, Brad was running at the front. We got tangled up at the restart there, but he's still going quite quick. We've come from 23rd or something up to 14th, so you just make it as easy as you can. Everyone's so close and busy fighting for their position at the end of the race. You just go up and have a chat, and if they do the right thing, they do the right thing. If they don't, well, you've got to make your way past.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
Must remind you that John Bow is a lap down in this battle. Send the Aussie male forward right in the thick of things. But John is running a lap down on these guys, showing some good race pace nonetheless. I'm sure the Aussie male team using this as some sort of a test session. See how the car performs against the leaders when they gear up for race 3. So the order: Murphy, Bright, Ambrose, Todd Kelly, Rick Kelly having a great run in the Holden Young Lions Commodore. In 5th place, Stephen Richards in 6th, Crompton in 7th. Johnson's up there in 8th, Lowndes, Longhurst. Longhurst, in fact, rounding out the top 10.
On board we go.
4.5 seconds the lead now for Greg Murphy, being able to put in nice, fast, consistent laps with no one around him.
Well, he came here and qualified 4th, went up 1 position in the shootout, finished 2nd yesterday, and now he continues to drop the numbers and will finish 1st at the end of this race. So 1 more lap to go for Murph. Let's just take a look at Max Wilson going off, well and truly off at Holden Hairpin. Avoids any barriers or trouble for car number 65. Rusty.
Quick update for you on Mark Scape. The Holden Racing team are going to be in a race against time. They're going to try and repair, or replace, I should say, that engine in that car. But logistically at this track, that's a little difficult. The transporters are right at the back of pit lane. It's hard to move the engines from there down to the little makeshift garages they've got here. So hopefully they'll be able to change engines in time and get Mark Scape out for the final race.
Well, listen to the roar as car number 51 comes around to complete his final lap here at Pukekohe. He won 3 out of 3 last year, and the overall round victories. The local hero, they've all come back to see if Greg Murphy can do it again. Scave stopped him in race 1, but with car number 1 out of the picture, they stand up and applaud. What a win for Greg Murphy, and the Kiwis go absolutely crazy.
Absolute jubilation.
Well done.
And incredible the way that opportunity opened up for Greg Murphy in front of his home crowd. You could hear him. We spoke to him earlier in his in-car during that safety car period. He had no answer for Scaife. Only if Scaife went out of the race. Well, as we spoke, engine problem emerged, and he did just that. Murphy taking over.
You'll take it any way you can get it. Murphy first. Jason Bright second. Now he gets the hand out the window, and there's car 021. Jason Richards has finished 14th position. 1, 2 and 3 is Murphy, Bright and Ambrose. Todd Kelly in 4th, Rick Kelly in 5th, Stephen Richards in 6th position, and it's thumbs up for car number 51.
Well, Rob Crawford, that just proves that you should never give up, even with that scape situation, even though Murph kind of almost had given up of taking a race win.
Yeah, I don't think Murph had given up, but the HRT car definitely had a lot more speed than what we have, and we've got to make some more changes, because if Scafey starts from the back of the grid this race, I think we'll still be in trouble, but we'll make some more changes and see what happens.
Yeah, soak it up. Well done.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Well, they're worried about the horsepower, but right now all Greg Murphy has to worry about is getting the applause from his local crowd. Comes into pit lane, and the Kmart crew will be waiting for him right there. There goes Ambrose. He finished 3rd yet again.
Presents a fascinating scenario, considering Murphy finished 2nd in race 1. He's won race 2. Could be well on target to finish on top of the podium for the 2nd year in a row.
Murphy, Bright and Ambrose. Then it was the 2 Kellys, Stephen Richards, Neil Crompton, Stephen Johnson. Position 9 was Craig Lowndes, so he fought to hold on to that top 10 position. Our thanks to Paul Radisich. Don't forget, another race still to come this afternoon from Pukekohe Raceway.
Could have done it without Channel 10, just the best.
Proof that patience can pay. Greg Murphy thought he was fighting a losing battle against Mark Scaife, but in the end, Scaife lost the fight with his engine and Murphy won the race. That is the 3rd race win of the season for Murph, but overall, he hasn't won a round since last time we were right here at Pukekohe. Greg Rust is with our winner.
Greg Murphy, what an awesome result for you in race 2 here at Pukekohe. What is it with you in this track?
Oh, well, there was a little bit of help from somewhere with Mark having that problem. You know, he was doing such a good job out front, but you know, we drove really hard and looked after the tyres, and at the restart, you know, we still had a bit left, so you know, I was lucky that I didn't get too much pressure put on. Otherwise, might have to push a bit harder. But it was obviously the car was an improvement over yesterday, and we had the speed over Jace.
Everyone's allocated 12 tyres for this round. What state are your tyres in for the final race?
Well, we've still got a new set to run, so that we haven't run on the car. So we've just got to find the best of the 8 tyres we've run so far and use them for the first part of the race, and then throw the new ones on to finish. And hopefully, it'll be in the same condition.
Good stuff, mate. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Thanks a lot.
Stevie, you started at the back and you finished 8th. 8's probably not where you exactly want to be, but it's pretty good.
When you're starting 31st, it's you know, it's hard work, and I mean, credit to these Shell Helix guys. They did an awesome pit stop, under 8-second pit stop, as you got to do nowadays, and really put in big yards to do good in and out laps to try to jump people in the pits, and we jumped a heap, and I got a few on the track too, which was great.
Seems like a lot of guys power down. We're having a lot of sideways action. How do you think you'll go for the next race?
It's tough. I mean, my left rear tyre pressure was up quite a bit when we came in, and I was only just touching the throttle like an eggshell, and I'll tell you what, the car was sliding around all over the place. So it's going to be pretty tough, especially if this heat stays up. We really need to make a few little adjustments to make it better for the end of the race, and I think we can pick up a few more.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Well, the frantic work is underway down at the Holden Racing Team. The old engine in Mark Scaife's car coming out. The new one is standing by. In the meantime, we'll have a chat to the young Lions driver, Rick Kelly, but you're not too happy with the result in that race.
No, we started 7th, so I think we're running right up there for a little while. The guy's done a great pit stop. It really pushed us up to about 3rd or 4th at that stage, and a couple of people had to come into the pits or whatever, and we got around 2nd, I think, or 3rd, and we had really bad oversteer in the high-speed stuff, which cost us a fair bit, and actually cost us, I don't know, 3 or 4 spots, I guess, but 5th's pretty good. I think we can move forward from for the next race. We just want to make a couple of changes, I think, and see how we go.
What shape are you in tyre-wise for that final race?
I mean, not too bad. Well, I think we're all in the same boat. We've planned our weekend out quite well, I think, so we should be pretty right, and I'm sure a lot of others out there will be as well. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of advantage somewhere, surely, and we can get back up there.
Don't be too hard on yourself. It's been a great first year or first full year in the championship. Well done.
Thanks a lot.
Rick Kelly there. Now let's check out the latest edition of V8X magazine. It's on your shelves right now. A good feature article on Marcus Ambrose at home. There is always plenty of colour inside the pages. And the legend himself, Peter Brock. Make sure you check it out. And while the crowd waits here for race 3 of the V8 International, check this out. David Bernard getting his week off to a flying start here in New Zealand.
This is Sky City, the tallest building in the Southern Hemisphere. It's one of Auckland's key tourist attractions, measuring 328 metres from top to bottom. So why would you want to jump off it?
Are you normally this much of a daredevil? I think I need to have a really good, long, hard talk to myself. I haven't told my girlfriend about all this, but you only live once, you've got to enjoy it, don't you?
Our helicopter reconnaissance mission probably wasn't helping the nerves. 53 stories looks a long way down from up here.
When you're up close like this, it looks a bit more daunting, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's a long way up, obviously, so when I get up looking down, it'll probably be even worse, but I'll just have to give it a go, I guess.
After a brief safety lecture, it was time to don the jumpsuit, a little different to the race overalls he's used to wearing. You get the feeling that nickname is going to stick. Sky jump is a more controlled version of bungee jumping, all the exhilaration, and in theory, less danger.
Any last requests?
Yeah, can I not do it?
Yeah, now.
I want to go down, terra firma. I don't think I can do this. Of course you can. Of course you can.
Nah. At least it would all be over in less than 20 seconds, but the prospect of falling 53 stories at speeds around 80 kilometres an hour is still pretty daunting.
So we head out and clip you on if you like. All right, we're doing the jump now then, or? That's right. Oh, right. Can I do it facing that way? You can if you want to. Yeah, I'd love to. Yep. No, I don't have to see where I'm going.
In V8 Supercar racing, Bernard is used to piloting a 300-kilometre-an-hour missile and making it look like child's play. Fear is not an option. Seeing it in a driver's eyes is a very rare thing.
On one, I'll just let you go, okay? All right? Yep. Keep your hands up.
All right, here we go in 3, 2, 1.
Well, how was that? It looks 3 times further when you're up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when you first went over the edge, what went through your mind?
That was better actually, because I felt the tightness. It's when you're standing on the edge and you first go and there's nothing there, and then you feel the tightness. That makes you feel a lot better. But I wouldn't do it again. It's just not my scene.
But my mobile's just rung. It's Ross Stone. He'd like to know where you are. What shall I tell him?
Don't tell him anything. I'll give you a bit of cash. We might be able to keep it quiet.
Awesome. He has got guts, David Bernard, but he's still chasing some glory here at Pukekohe. 150 kilometres still to come. And we'll go racing again on the other side of the break on your home of motorsport, Network 10.